What is going on, brothers? What is going on? It's your dude, Mr. International Passport, here again for yet another Future Classic live stream. First and foremost, though, can you brothers hear me loud and clear? I had some technical issues earlier on today while I was setting up the stream. I think I'm good, but let me know if you can hear me loud and clear, brothers. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Robert, how's my audio? Is it good for you over
It's
there,
good,
right as
man.
we're live?
No, it's good. Clear,
Awesome,
clear, good
awesome,
auditory
brother. Thank
level.
you very much.
Hmm.
Okay, awesome. Brothers in the chat, let me know by if you can type one in the chat for me and we can move on forward. Who is here? We have a very interesting guest and a very special topic here today to speak about. Shout out to Tyron Starman. Okay, awesome. So let's get straight into it, all right? So first rules apply. Please support the channel, like the video, share the content around to other brothers who need it, hit the super chats, hit the PayPal donations. Join the Patreon as well. We got some freaky intel about Indonesian women on the Patreon from other brothers, and it's crazy intel. And aside from that, get a t-shirt, get a hoodie, support the channel by getting the merch. That'd be greatly appreciated. So we'll probably have a Rumble crash out after the stream. So we're in the YouTube stream, go on Rumble, we crash out there like we always do. Now let's get straight into it, okay? I got a very special guest here called Robert, okay, who's here to break down Bali, Indonesia for aspiring passport bros or current passport bros. Robert, how you doing today, bro? You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, brother. I want to say thank you very much for your time. It
No
is greatly
worries.
appreciated. Thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
Robert, give us a brief intro about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and anything
Sure.
interesting about you, bro.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from the UK, actually from a small town called Corby. Don't know if you're familiar with that.
Nope.
Yeah, it's about 45 minutes northeast of London by train. So it's not like a major tourist spot, obviously. Most people from the UK have not really heard of it. And yeah, so I lived there for the first several years of my life. And then, to make a long story short, my parents, my father got a position in the aviation industry in Canada. So we emigrated over here to Canada, to Western Canada. And I think when I came to Canada, I was like 6 years old, 5, 6 years old. It's pretty young, but I would go back and forth sometimes on summer times because the vast majority of my relatives are back home in the UK, like Birmingham and London and Croydon, all over, right? So I'd go back and forth, so kind of like still, kept in touch. To make a long story short, my parents ended up divorcing when I was 12, lived with my mother. Usual story, single black man raised by a single mother. Had a brother later, had a younger brother, 8 years difference between us. Uh, yeah, so basically that's a little bit of the background. After I did my high school over here in Canada, I went to Polytechnical Institute. I did drafting, so my drafting technologist by trade. I worked in the oil and gas industry. I worked in the pipeline industry, having to do with fire suppression systems for a company called Tyco International. So I did all of my training in Canada, Western Canada, and then I ended up going to the United States for a brief work contract when I was working for one of the companies. Did that for a few years, didn't really like it, and then I juxtaposed into telecommunications. So I ended up relocating to Vancouver, being in Vancouver, spent like more than 10 years in Vancouver, worked for like, how you have Voxphone in the UK, right?
Yeah.
So the company I was working for in Canada is called Rogers Communications. So it's their version of Voxphone. And if you're not from Canada, you won't know of it, but it's like a big company. So I worked for them, got a like I was working in the head office, doing something called Business Support Group or BSG, which is basically just dealing with corporate clientele as an account manager. And then, during all of this time, just, you know, living in downtown Vancouver, Cole Harbour region, next to the Canada. I sent you some pics, man, so you kind of get an idea of, my background and all that. And yeah, just, living life. No children, never been married. Dating while I was in Vancouver, the usual, you know, that's kind of my. I'm trying to bring you up. I'm trying to like compile it, you know. But
Was it easy? Was it easy dating in Vancouver out of interest?
yeah, it was because you know what? I only deal with international women,
Hmm.
primarily women from Asia. So for me, I didn't really have too much of an issue. I really didn't. Like my first girlfriend before I moved to Vancouver, she was Japanese. She was from Tokyo, and uh, yeah, so I really only primarily only dated international women. Yeah,
Awesome.
non-Westerners. So yeah, I didn't. Yeah, you know, what I mean, like one of my, you know, I dealt with various women, but one of the woman that I should have married, she was Korean, and she was over in Vancouver for like a language exchange uh thing for her university. But yeah, man, yeah, primarily, yeah.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. So, brother, now let's get
Mhm.
straight into it, brother, right?
Sure.
Let's talk about, Bali, Indonesia. All right.
Yes, sure.
This is going to be a crazy question, brother, but it
Yep.
seems to me that you may be the first black man ever to visit Bali, Indonesia. Is that true?
No, man, no, no. Are you serious? You haven't spoken to? No, man, no, no. There's a black community down there. Seriously.
Wow.
Yeah, they got their own WhatsApp group and all that too. Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. Russell Simmons is down there. I had coffee with him. You know, when I
Oh,
was down there. Yeah, Russell Simmons. He lives down there. So he lives in so the first time, okay. The first time I went to Bali is so I've been living off and on in Asia for like 6 years, right? So before I went to Bali, I was living in Thailand. I was living in Phuket, okay, for a number of years. And I had to do a visa run and I was coming back on, I didn't fly this time. I was taking the bus back, which I don't recommend doing. If you're going to do visa runs, just fly. But, you know, I wanted to see some of the countryside. So I flew I was in Kuala Lumpur. I got my visa extension at the embassy in Kuala Lumpur. And then I was taking the bus back. This is a few years ago. Uh, and I'll catch you up, but this is a few years ago. So I'm taking the bus back, and there's an Indonesian guy on the same bus, and we got talking during our entire conversation. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just here visiting um, Thailand for a bit. I'm going to be in Phuket, and I haven't been to Thailand before." And so we were end up talking. We exchanged information. He's saying, "Rob, you got to come to Indonesia," and he's like, "I live in where is it? He lives in Java. He lives in oh crap." Now the name's escaping, but he lives on the main island of Java, and he said definitely come to visit. So I spent primarily about 3 years, I think, in Phuket. This is what 2016, 26. No, this is about 20. I think this is 2018, and then so I've been in Phuket, and then I said, you know what, this is the end of my time here in Thailand. I'm going to be heading back home, but before I do that, I'm going to fly to Indonesia. So I flew to Indonesia. I was in Java. I forget the name of I can't remember. It's the second largest city after
Jakarta.
Jakarta. Yeah, I don't. It's escaping me, man. Anyway, so I went down there. I was there for like a month and met up with him. We had dinner. He was familiarizing me with like Indonesian culture and all that. And then I think I took a bus down to Bali. That was the first time I went there, right? And so, yeah, it was really interesting. I was there for like a week or two. That's when I met a whole bunch of people. I ended up meeting, that's when I actually ended up having coffee with Russell Simmons because he had moved down there, right?
Damn.
For various reasons. For various reasons. We'll get into that later. Yeah, he's having some legal issues back in the States and all that. It's a long story. And it was a really cool vibe. But I primarily, when I went this time, the first time I went, I was in uh, it's not Canggu. It was God, man, I have brain fog today. But anyway, it was the main part where people usually go, and they have like a big yoga community there and everything else, right? So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then from there, basically did my time, and then I flew back to Canada. right? Because before this, I actually was living back in the UK. I was in Canary Wharf, right? I'm all over the place, man. I'm all over the place, and I'll catch you up to how I ended up back in Bali, right? So I was in Canada in for an entire year, 2019, going into 2020, and I booked a ticket. I was okay. So before I went to Bali, right, I was kind of seeing three women. All right, I'm not saying this to brag or anything like that. I'm just being completely transparent, right? So I was seeing three women casually, okay? And when I was in Vancouver, but I didn't have a flat. I was staying with this Filipina, a Canadian Filipina, while I was down there, while I was back in Vancouver, right? And I said, yeah, I'm going to be heading off to, heading back to Bali. And she's like, okay, cool, really cool girl. And I booked my flight. I left in like January 15th and flew to Bali. The pandemic hit, I believe, in March, okay, of 2020, when everything shut down. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to head back to the UK because I already left about 2 weeks before Brexit happened, I think 2015, 2016. So I might as well just stay here in Bali, enjoy the hot weather, learn to surf, and just kind of live the dream that everyone thinks that Bali is on the surface, right? Yeah. So that's how I ended up in Bali, because I didn't want to head back to the UK and I didn't want to come back to Canada, to be under the draconian totalitarian laws that they had during that time worldwide, right? So yeah.
So, brother, so you're saying that, brother, can I ask you what made you
Sure.
pick Bali in the first place? And tell me about your life in the UK, right? Was it that bad in terms of dating, in terms of opportunities?
Okay.
So
So
break
when I
down life
was
in the UK, why it was
Yeah,
bad,
I'll
and
break
then
it down. Yeah, let me do kind of more chronologically. So obviously I have two passports, and I can come and go as I please. So I decided to, after living in Vancouver for a decade, I said, let me head back to the UK for a bit. So to just kind of like, so yeah, so I headed back to the UK. None of the qualifications I had from Canada in terms of like my drafting technologist certifications, or my background in corporate account management, I couldn't get any type of decent paying job while I was in the UK. And I applied everywhere, went on interviews, everything. What I had to end up doing to support myself was bartending, because I had already bartended before back in Canada, right? So that was how I was supporting myself. And I was like, I was living. I think I first, when I came, I was living in Zone 4, and then after that I relocated, closer to the city, and I just saw this negative energy that permeates the UK and permeates a lot of people in London. And I'm like, it was so bloody. It was depressing. It was really depressing, IP. And I'm like, I reconnected with a lot of my relatives and everything like that, and they seem to be in a stagnant position where they were doing the same thing that they were doing 10, 15, 20 years ago. They hadn't traveled. They hadn't had a lot of the international experience that I've had. They like, business wise, financial wise, they were just kind of coasting, going at this level here. And the inflationary rates and the taxes and everything else you have to pay, and to get a decent flat, you got to pay at least £1,500, in my opinion, right? Because I don't live with roommates. I don't do that. I always have like usually upper scale places, and I found it too expensive. I didn't date down there. All I did was work. And it just the energy that I have, because I've been primarily brought up in Canada, and I've spent lots of time in the States as well while I was growing up. My energy was so different to, I found out, a lot of the people's energy down there. And I'll kind of explain it like this. I found that I had more of an open mind and more of kind of like a positive platform to go off. where a lot of them I've noticed, especially I saw a lot of depressed black people there, man. And I made this comment to my uncle down there. I said they can't see it, but I can see the sadness in their eyes. I can see the desperation because they're not they just haven't had the opportunity like you and I, IP, to like have lived in different places, travel to different countries, have a career that is remote, so you can work anywhere in the world. And I didn't see it as good, man. It was
Mm,
really sad to me. It was really sad, and I was like, wow, man. I said, this is not going to be my life. I have to
mm,
get out of here before I become another statistic, right? And there was nothing. Yeah, I just was not living at the same level that I was living back in Vancouver when I was in the UK. I was like two rungs lower on the socioeconomic, and I was just like, I'm not going to put up with this. I'm not going to put up with it. I'm like, why should I stay here and slave away for 20 years to try and get a down payment, a reasonable good down payment to put on a flat in London or in zone 2 or zone 3, which is a cardboard box, pencil thin walls, and I don't know who my neighbors are next door. And I'm working to live. I said, I'm not going to be one of those statistics. I have no children. I have no wife. So I'm free. I'm just gonna use what I have, and I'm just gonna like jet. Yeah, I didn't like it, man. It changed so much. It was like I'm gonna be really straight with you, IP. It was like when I was because I obviously when I was down there it was a lot different, but there was parts of it that I didn't even recognize. I kind of felt that I remember I had to get my SSN number, I think my social security number, whatever. I had to go to this part of town, and I thought I was in the Middle East, man. No offense, but I felt I was. I'm not going to say the name of the place, but I felt like I was in the Middle East.
Damn. Great breakdown, brother. So now, brother, Bali, Indonesia changed
Mhm.
everything for you, brother, right? And
Yes,
I want to ask you, brother, how long were you out there for?
I was out there for about 3.5 years, my man. I was out there all throughout the pandemic.
Wow. So, brother, now let me ask you, right, about tell me about, what kind of life we live in there in Bali, Indonesia. Was it a high value lifestyle, middle class? Was it a very slow life? Break it down for me, bro.
Sure, man. So it is very slow paced. Obviously, because I was independent and financially independent, I lived in upper scale places, new builds, new construction places. So I had a very good time. Most of the people there, obviously, in terms of the local Balinese, I think annually they probably earn maybe like each month they probably earn maybe £300 a month, £400 a month. That's the average wage for the local Balinese people. 85% of the Balinese people are connected or directly in the tourism industry. Okay. So they rely primarily on tourism as a way to support
Mm.
themselves and their families. That is the truth. They're very relaxed people. They're very open people. They're very loving people. They're melanated people like us, as I said. And I think Black people and Indonesian people, we have a lot in common, but their economy has been set up to cater to Westerners to their own detriment.
Break it down. What do you mean to
I'm
the
gonna
one
break.
judgment, bro?
Sorry, yeah, you want me to break it down?
Yes, please.
I'm gonna really break it down, man, because this is what I see. IP. Every time that you go on Instagram or you go on YouTube, the content creators and the so-called influencers, it's not even a real job, but anyway, we'll say it's a job for the sake of this interview. They always show the good side of Bali. They show one side, and that is a Westerner coming in there with financial means to be able to live a high life up here, right? But they don't show the real Bali. And so let me break it down to like this, IP. the primary economy of Bali, before it became this huge tourist destination that was set up by the Dutch, by the way, back in the 40s and 50s, but that's another story, was agriculture. So they're an agrarian society, okay, where basically there are plots of land where families grow rice and they grow other crops. And it is generational living where you have the father, you have the nuclear family living there, you have the grandparents, and you have the great grandparents. And they all live on plots of land farming, or they used to be. And they would hand down this plot of land and the land that they lived on, which was self-sufficient, down their family line. Okay. Now, what's happened ever since the late 80s is there has been a major push, and it has been encouraged by Jakarta. So this is what's kind of happened, right? Jakarta, under I think President Sukarno or whatever, they have a lot of, okay, so a lot of the influence is based in Jakarta because that's the capital, right? And what they've done is they have opened up, very powerful families in Jakarta have opened up Bali to tourism, okay? And one of the ways that they've done this is by, so as a foreigner, you cannot own land in Bali, right? You can't own land. You can do leaseholds, the same thing like they do in Thailand, right? Where you can purchase a plot of land for like 20, 30 years or whatever, and you can turn it into a hotel or a villa or whatever. This is what's kind of going on, right? And so what has happened is you've had big chains like the Four Seasons move down there. You've had other Hyatt Regency, all of these big chains, hotels that have opened up places in, like Uluwatu and other places. And what's happened is the local people have sold off their familial plots of land, okay? And they've sold them to foreign investors, mainly Westerners, Australians, Chinese, but a lot of Westerners, in order for them to go and develop that land. Okay. This is what's happening. So as more and more foreign investment comes in, Bali, especially the southern part of Bali, all right, has been completely taken over, which it all used to be. Like Canggu is a place where I lived because I surf, right? It's a major surfing place. That place used to be beautiful green terrace step hills, right? Grasslands. And those have all been turned into villas with swimming pools and big hotel chains. And it's so sad to see. It's so sad to see because the families that used to live there do not have a concept of macroeconomics like you or I do, IP. We know, because we're educated, that land is true wealth, not fiat currency.
Facts.
Which is based on nothing, by the way. So what you've had is for each of these different communities in Bali, you have someone called an imam. It's not an uman or iman. It's like the head of that village, right? And they're kind of like the mayor of a small area of land in Bali. So each community has like this, and I'm mispronouncing the word, man. I don't know what's happened to my. Don't know anyway. So you have small communities, and they're managed by like a mayor or whatever. And what they've done is, because they've done leaseholds on their land 20, 30 years to these big corporations as well as foreigners that come in there, build villas and condominiums. The real estate prices have risen in many areas in Bali. Okay. So before you could buy like a cheap place down there for maybe 10, 20,000 pounds, probably 10 years ago. Now these same plots of land are like more than 200,000, 300,000 up and up. The people that own that land, that family, now has to relocate further outside of where they originally left. So they have to go either further west or further east or further north, where there's less tourism. They cannot afford to live back in their own ancestral plot of land. because the real estate prices have shot up so much. Then they put the restaurants in there and the nightclubs and all that, like in Coot and all that. And it's sad to see that, because the family unit used to be so much stronger when everyone lived together, generational families lived together and they farmed. And everyone lived together. Now, the young children or the first generation, they're going into tourism to work for Westerners, whether it be a hotel, whether that be a restaurant, whether that be a coffee shop or something else like that, right? So we're seeing the erosion of the family units within Bali. Okay. So what I say is, wherever there is Western, what's happened? This is what it is, man. Because no one else is putting this on Instagram or TikTok or any of these. They only show the highlights coming from their Western perspective, but they're not showing truly how people, the true Balinese, live. Okay, we're gonna get into it today. IP. I'm gonna be completely transparent. I'm gonna be blowing the lid off it, of everything, whether it is what people want to hear or not, because people have to kind of wake up. What's happened with Bali is the same thing that's happened in Kenya, same thing that has happened in the Caribbean, same things that's happened in many destinations around the world. When you have it's European economic, Western economic colonialization is what's happening, and it doesn't benefit the people, because what they're always saying is, oh, we're bringing in jobs to the local people. That may be correct, but first of all, these people are ending up serving the Westerners at the hotels, at the coffee shops, at the restaurants, at the Airbnbs. These people they become like second-class citizens. So when if you go there, IP, you're going to be like a first-class citizen. You're British, doesn't matter your skin color or whatever like that, because you're a Westerner, you're coming up at this level. The local Balinese people who do not have the financial means are at a second or third tier socioeconomic level, because they don't have the income that we generate. They can't work remotely. They're working for pittances. So the currency down there is rupiah, and they're being paid a pittance. Because when a Westerner comes there and they open up a restaurant or open up a hotel, they're not paying European wages. They're not paying British wages. They're not paying the Euro wages. They're not protected. They can pay the people very little. So these people that are working at these locations are only making a few £100 per month. IP. This is the thing that's happening. It's not benefiting them. It's not benefiting them long term. I'm going to be straight up with it, man. They're not being benefited long term. They're serving the Australians. They're serving the Russians. There's a huge, massive influx of Russians there and Ukrainians because of the war. That's another story. We can get into that if you want.
Can we? So, Baba, would you say like so? Are you telling me that Indonesian people don't run Indonesia? Who actually runs it? Is it Western people? Who is in control of that country?
Okay, so in Indonesia, it is the Indonesian power structure based out of Jakarta. They do run it, but what they've done is they've made Bali, it's kind of their cash cow. So Indonesian people do run it, but they have opened it up. They've opened up Bali so much, right? So they're still in control, but they've opened up Bali so much to foreign investment that economically, the Westerners they don't have political control, but they have a great deal of economic control. Because whenever a big hotel chain comes to Bali, they open up, or a shopping mall or one of these other things, the political and the business elite back in Jakarta, back on the main island of Java, are getting kickbacks from that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, instead of them building up the financial base and the business know-how of the local Balinese people, right, who don't have the business acumen to understand that once you give a leasehold on your land for 20, 30 years, that you are losing control, because the money that they initially gave you for that leasehold of that plot of land, this fiat currency that they're giving you degrades with inflation. So at the end of that 20, 30 years, this is what they should have done, IP. They should have said, you know what? If we want to use Bali as a cash cow tourism place, let us put the money and the know-how of how real estate works and everything in the hands of the Balinese people, and let them be in control and have ownership rights. Keep the land, obviously, which is in their own name, but don't do the leasehold, and have us control everything. But they didn't do that. So whenever you have billions of dollars coming in from foreign investment, economically, the local people are going to lose out. This whole trickle down theory that they teach in economics does not work. It does not benefit the local Balinese populace.
So now,
it's a lie.
Now, brother, so now for passports, right? And for you,
yes.
When you were in Bali, Indonesia, right? Were you living in paradise? So I want you to tell me like,
I was.
But tell me the top 5 things that made you feel like you were living in paradise in Bali, Indonesia. Why?
Okay, so you have the beautiful landscape, the terraced rice hills. Number one, you have the choice of living in an upper scale place. So I lived in a new bungalow, brand new, swimming pool and everything else like that. Came furnished. Number two, okay. Number three, we have the ability to eat at most of the best fine dining establishments that the local people can't afford. Okay. Number four, I think I'm on, is obviously the women are much more attractive, dark skinned, very, very friendly, very approachable. Okay. And number five, I would say is, like the ocean. The ocean. So we have 5 of those different things that are going for us as, passport. Let me say this, because we're foreigner and we're either from, the UK, or we're from America or Netherlands or whatever, because we have that, the foreign passport, obviously, it does give you an advantage, I guess, when it comes to dating and everything else like that. I'm going to be transparent. It does. But I like looking, you can have a lot of fun there, IP, but the thing is, the older I get and the more I travel, and I've lived in like 5 different countries so far, I don't want to really deal with local women that speak really good English and also only date foreigners. There were so many times I ran across women in Indonesia who told me to my face that they do not date their own men. They will not date an Asian man. They will only date foreigners. And if I was the average, Caucasian boy, I'd be jumping up and down for joy. But I'm looking at it, but I'm not. First of all, I'm melanated. I'm a son of Africa. And I don't have that, even though I've been raised European, I still have the mindset. I still understand from our melanated grassroots perspective. If you have a young woman that it's like a lot of black guys, they say, I'm not going to date a black woman. I know black women are not easy to deal with, but to completely scorn your own race of people because you think that another race or another nationality is better, to me, that is a reflection on her character, that she has some type of self-hatred going on. You understand what I'm saying, IP?
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, I can't respect it, man. I can't, but that happened numerous different times, man. And the thing is, you got to understand, IP, because I was there for about 3.5 years. I spent another 6 months in Lombok, which is the island next door, but for 4 years total in Indonesia. But I found that a lot of women that were working that were in the tourist spots, working in the hotels, the coffee shops, at the tourist traps, their mindset has been completely shifted towards a foreign man is better than my own local man, because the own local man doesn't have the financial resources that this guy does, and he's not flashy and he's not exciting. That's what I found down there, man.
Mm.
Yep.
So, brother, I mean, we will get into dating later on for as to
Sure.
the dilemma of black men, etc., how to avoid the worst woman, how to find wifey there.
Yep.
So, brother, now can I ask you about your budget for Indonesia, right? So, on a
Sure.
weekly basis or on a daily basis, right? How much do
Mhm.
we need? How much do we need to survive there in Bali, Indonesia, bro?
For on a daily basis, I think like if you have like it's easy to survive there on, I would say like 15 quid, 15, 20 quid a day.
A day? Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
that's more than enough. No, that is more than enough that you need to do what you need to do, which is like eat in a Western establishment if that's what you're into. I prefer the local food. That is to, I don't drink alcohol, but you can drink as much alcohol as you need on that. You have your motorbike rental, your scooter rental. There is, yeah, that's more than enough, man. Man, you can live quite comfortably there for like, let's say 1,000 US is more than enough money for a single guy to live there comfortably. And that includes your accommodation. More than enough, man.
Wow. And brother, you said you were
Yep.
staying in a high scale hotel. How much did that cost you a
So
day?
no, you know what? I was living in a house. I was in my own bungalow, and how much did I pay for that per month? Oh my goodness. I when I was yeah, I think I spent must be like 300, maybe 250 to 300, I would say US
A
per
month?
month, a month,
Wow.
and there was a swimming pool, beautiful wood, handmade wood furniture, brand new appliances, Samsung fridge, everything. Yeah, seriously, man. And they even lowered it during the pandemic, if you can believe that. So I was even paying less, but yeah, that's a whole nother story, man. But yeah, it was good. It's
Wow.
extremely economically easy to get by there, you know.
Now, brother, that's all great, right? But
Mhm.
we're black, right? And in a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
cases,
yeah.
or some cases, that the world isn't kind to dark black skin. Now, in
Yeah, yeah.
Bali, Indonesia, brother, right?
Mhm.
How do the people treat black people, dark skinned black people, people from Africa, people from America, UK? How are we treated there, bro, by Indonesian people, first and
I'll tell
foremost?
you, I'll tell you really honestly. While I was there, the local Balinese, they treat us extremely well. They treat you as just like they would any type of Caucasian foreigner from Australia or Europe. Now, keep in mind, because we are foreign and we do come with financial resources, we're going to get better treatment off the back. But you have to understand too, a lot of them are also very dark skinned. A lot of them have our same phenotype because a lot of Indonesian people are have black DNA, have black Asiatic man DNA from way back then. So some of them have the afros, they have the dark skin, they have the same type of a similar energy to what you would encounter with the people of like the Caribbean or Africa. They have that very openness, that kind spirited. So as a black man going down there, you're not gonna have any issues, man. Like seriously, not gonna have any issues. I'm telling you the truth on that. So you don't have to worry about anything like that, man. You will be accepted. One of the reasons, like Russell Simmons that is his permanent home. He built a place down there, and he lives there predominantly most of the year. So it's a fantastic place. There is a black expat community down there as well, and they love it. They have people there from the States, from the UK, from Europe, and they have permanently relocated down there. So it's a great place. It's a great place. You would like it, man.
Wow, brother. So
Mhm.
tell me how the non-locals treat black people. I know there's a lot of
Do you
Indonesians
mean
there, British people there, Russians. How do they? I know they come from racist countries and they might have
yes?
black people, but how they in overall treat black people, and did you have problems with them, or was it mostly good?
So I didn't. I had encounters with people from Russia. I had other. Yeah, I did. I went out with a few Russian girls. We'll get into that later on. But in the dating part. But yeah, I didn't have any issues with them. However, I found that the Russians did not really treat the local people that well in some circumstances. There were road rage incidents, just the general way sometimes that they spoke and interacted with the local people. I didn't find it was respectful, man. They are not respectful a lot of the times when they go to Thailand or they go to an Indonesia or they go to a non-Caucasian country. I find that a lot of them are very arrogant. And I'm going to say it right here because everyone is afraid to say this on YouTube. I find that with some of them, not all, but some of them, there is this arrogance with them that they carry with them. And I don't know what it is, man. Their energy is very different. It's like, I think a lot of them, they kind of think that they're on a higher level than the local Balinese Indonesian people. That's how I would describe that. That's how I would really describe that. As for me having issues with other European people, I had no issues with them. Most of them were really easygoing, Australians. I was even at a house party, to make a long story short, and it ended up being 80%, 90% Afrikaners, Caucasian Afrikaners at that party. And they were very warm and friendly and inviting. So yeah, I've had kind of the complete opposite, I think, of a lot of probably black people have had with certain racial groups, and maybe that has to do, I think part of the reason is I think the way I carry myself. And, for myself, I'm kind of like an arrogant guy too. I'm going to be straight up with you, IP. I'm one of those guys that I just say it like it is, and I don't care if you like me or not, whether you're male or female. So I think kind of having just this attitude that I've always kind of had, people are like, there's no point in me messing around with Rob. I have no advantage over him. He doesn't work for me. He's independent. He's well traveled. So accept me as I am, because I'm not going to change.
Wow, a great breakdown there, bro. So, brother, so you were there for a couple of years in Bali, Indonesia.
Yeah, man.
Can I ask, how did you meet people and make friends there? Because some people are definitely interested in moving there. And how would you determine to meet people, make friends there? How did you do that kind of process there, bro?
So it's really simple, man. So for me, right, I box. So I was always at the, getting private lessons from a professional fighter down there. In boxing, I surf. So whether you're at the beach, whether you're surfing, whether you're walking down, it's just really easy to meet people. When you're back in the UK and you go to a coffee shop, everyone's kind of like glued to their phones, right? People don't look each other in the eye in the streets. People don't approach each other. But down there, people are much more relaxed. So it's really easy to just meet people of either sex. People are much more open to, having and I'm an introvert. I'm an extreme introvert by nature. But even for me, it was 20, 30 times more easy for me to make connections with people in Bali than it was me when I was back in the UK or Canada. People are just very open. They're happy to be on vacation. They're less stressed from what's going back over in Europe or in America. So, you have the Facebook groups. For myself, I went to Kosher. So I went to the local Kosher office to work. You're always going to meet people there, locals or whether they be other foreigners there. And there's lots of meetups for businesses, crypto, Bitcoin, things like that. So it's fairly easy to meet people there, man. And as I said, I'm an extreme introvert. I usually only, deal with one or two people besides myself. And even for me, I was meeting lots of people.
Awesome.
You won't
awesome
have any issues, man. Yeah.
Awesome, bro. So now, brother, right? Can I ask you about Indonesian people, right?
Yes.
Like light-skinned Indonesian people, dark-skinned Indonesian people. I know it's quite the different colors there. How do they treat black people in terms of respect? I think you mentioned it previously, but any sort of racism towards you at all? And how they like in general? Are they kind people, warming people, light-skinned people? Like the light-skinned Indonesians, dark-skinned Indonesians. Go on, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna break it down, man. So in Indonesia, you have the Indonesian populace, which is usually brown to dark skinned, but you also have Chinese Indonesians. They're the ones with the money. They're the
Mm.
ones with the money, as everywhere they go, right? So what I found is, okay, I would have these straight up conversations. So with the real Indonesian people who do not have the Chinese blood within them, they're on a lower socioeconomic level. The Chinese Indonesians in general, not always, in general, do much better financially. They have much more money. They have their own businesses. Now, what I have been told by several Indonesian people is that they were not fond of the Chinese Indonesians because the Chinese Indonesians don't look on them at the same level. They kind of look down on them. When the Chinese Indonesian families are getting married or dating, they will only date other Chinese or other Chinese Indonesians to marry into. If you have a Chinese Indonesian person up here, high socioeconomic status, and there's a local Balinese or a local Indonesian, that marriage, that relationship is not going to work out. It's not going to work out 9 times out of 10 because they only want their son or daughter to marry another Chinese Indonesian to keep the money and the bloodline pure. You hear what I'm saying, IP?
I hear what you're saying, bro. I'm not
So
surprised.
they have resentment against them. I'm going to be honest with them. They have resentment against them, but they can't do anything about it because they don't have the money, they don't have the financial know-how, the economic know-how, how to level up. That's the straight up truth, man. The straight up truth. It's like the same thing with the local black population in the Caribbean cannot compete on the same level as the Chinese people or the Chinese Caribbean people that have emigrated there a long time ago.
Why
Yep,
is it like that,
there's
bro?
a
Like,
difference.
Chinese are everywhere. Like, they're always rich everywhere. Like, it's
They
weird.
are.
Like, they're like they're very exclusive as well. They don't let you in to make money with them. And we gotta speak up, bro, because like they're coming to
I'm
our
going to speak up.
countries,
Hmm.
into our cultures, right? Make money off us, and then when we try to make money with them or in their countries or get with their woman, it's like no, like enough is enough, man. Like I'm sick of it, man. Really am. It's everywhere here in Malaysia, in
Yeah,
Indonesia, in Japan, in
yeah.
China. If you want to do that kind of life or exclusiveness, right? Go and do it in
Hmm.
your own country, bro. Go and do it in your own country. Like
I
literally,
agree.
bro. Like
I agree.
go back to your country and go and do that BS over there. I'm sick of it,
I
bro.
I completely agree. But what I want to, yeah, I hear your frustration, but what I'm trying to say is when you hear of, like, it's not an exclusively black issue. It's wherever the Chinese go, whether they are, as I said, in Malaysia or they're in Indonesia or some other country, when they come into that country, they only stick within their own. They're very insular, right? So they practice group economics amongst themselves. And because the local people, let's just put it this way, man, a lot of them are just they're greedy. I'm gonna say it like it is, man. A lot of Chinese they're greedy. Their money is their god. Okay, when you're dealing with the local people, they value their family, they value the land, they value just living for living's sake, not living to make money. There's a complete different mindset, right? So I would say that this is what I would say, IP. The Chinese and European, they have something in common where they are much more economically driven for the sake of getting money and power than the other races on this planet. Would you agree?
I agree, bro. I agree.
So
Um,
the thing is, because I know you're sick and tired of seeing it. Look, I'm sick and tired of seeing it too. But this is the thing that we have to understand as as the local Balinese are in there because they are content with what they have, right? They're not seeking to take over the world. So if they have a plot of land, which is providing enough food for their family, and they have their their children there, their great grandchildren there, and they're happy with less. They're just content in general. Their mindset is not to accrue a lot of resources for the sake of accruing resources.
Mm.
Okay? But with the Chinese, their mentality is different. And when I talk about the Chinese, I'm not going to group all of them in the same boat. There's hundreds of different ethnic people in China. When I'm speaking about the Chinese, because I want to make this clear distinction, because too many people get this. We're educated man. We're not going to lump them all into the same. When I'm talking about the Chinese, I'm talking about the Han Chinese. That's spelled Han. That is the largest ethnic group within China. They're the ones that have the political and economic power. They're the ones that control Hong Kong. They're the ones that control Beijing, Shanghai. They're the ones that always export their businesses outside of China. They control Australia. They control large sections. They hold large sections of land in the United States. They have an influence in Europe and other countries. So we're talking about the Han Chinese. Because China's population is so broad, when people think of Chinese, they think that they're all like that. They're not all like that. We're talking specifically the Han Chinese because there are many ethnic groups in China who do not have this mindset of I need to accrue all of this money, all of this wealth, and just stick within my own. It's specifically the Han. I want to make that distinction because no one is making that distinction. And that has to be, we can't lump them all. It's just like you have the continent of Africa. Well, you can't say all of them are Nigerian. You understand what I'm trying to say, IP?
Yeah.
So when we're dealing with a specific subset of this ethnic minority who are very active in, racism against non-Chinese and things like that. So the same attitude not with all of them, but it still permeates in Asia, in Indonesia, in Bali. Okay? This is what I'm trying to say. These are the ones that can afford to send their children to school in the Netherlands because there's some type of, it's easy for them to get visas there because the Dutch used to control, Indonesia and all that. So I want to make that distinction. Now, why are the Chinese able to do this in Bali and Indonesia and other places in Malaysia? The reason is when they come into a local community, the people are very content with what they have. But when the Chinese come in, their thing is to basically corner the market, only hire their own people, and to buy up lots of real estate, and to keep expanding, and not take that money and put it into the local population. It's to keep it within themselves. You understand what I'm saying, IP? So because of that, that is why they economically do very well in the world, whether it be Kenya, whether it be, the Caribbean, whether it be all of these different countries. If the local population were like to say, no, we're not going to sell you our land. You can only enter this country on a tourist visa. You cannot set up a business. If you set up a business here, 60%, 51% of it has to be in a local's name. It would be a different story overnight. But because the local people, it's the same thing in the Aborigines or the Maoris in New Zealand and all that. We don't have it within us to completely take over and control another people. And that could be kind of like it's a strength, but it can also be our weakness. Because we're not, you see, with the Chinese the mindset, the Han Chinese mindset, they're thinking 20, 30, 40, 50 years ahead. The local Balinese person, they're just thinking, what can I get today? The local Indonesian living on the island of Lombok, because Indonesia is comprised of thousands of different islands. They're like, I'm happy. I have my little hut, whether it be a tin roof or whatever. I have I can get my food for today. I can feed my many children. I'm happy. So the mindset is very different. So that is the reason why when you have that's why the Chinese are so successful anywhere they go, whether it's South America, Argentina, wherever they go, they're going to be very successful because their mindset is different than the local people. They're like, how much can I take out for myself and my own people? Whereas the local people don't think that way. They're very generous people, IP, are very loving people for the most part. But the local Balinese, their friendliness, their love, their acceptance is leading to their detriment because they have given away their wealth, which is their land. And what a lot of them end up doing is they end up using the money that they've leased from their land sales. They go and buy Harley Davidson motorcycles and spend their money on frivolous things. I'm telling you the truth, IP. Some of them, they're riding around with brand new Harleys.
Facts, bro. So, brother, now for you, so like Chinese Indonesians, bro, how do they treat black people in Indonesia? Do they like, are they on that racist time? Did you experience racism from them? Keep it real with me, bro.
I didn't experience, racism from them, and I think I didn't experience racism from them, and I think, as I said, because we're kind of coming from a privileged position, IP. You're English, I'm English. A lot of the people you see, if you see a black person over there in Bali or Indonesia, 9 times out of 10, man, they're not going to be poor. They're going to be at least middle class, right? So they're already coming from this level. To be able to afford to go to Bali and live, and to leave your own country, you're already going to be better off than most of the people there. So they see you as, I wouldn't say they see you as black or whatever. I would say that they just see you as another Westerner with money, come to spend money. So we're coming kind of with that privilege, whether it's deserved or not. We're coming there with that privilege. So we're always going to get good treatment. I'm going to be honest with you. We're always going to get good treatment unless you do something stupid. Do you ever hear about that story in Canggu with those 2 black women from the UK and and the beauty salon? You heard about that story?
Nope.
Okay, we won't go into it. Anyway, I think they end up getting deported. Unless you act like a fool down there, you're not going to have any issues. As long as you're respectful to the people, you obey their laws and everything, you're not going to have any issues, regardless of what color you are. Even if you're a dark-skinned black man. And I got pretty dark when I was down there, man, because I was always out in the sun. I don't use any type of sun protection or whatever. So, yeah.
So, brother, amazing stream so far. Now, brother, let me ask this. Tell me 5 things that you don't like about Indonesia.
Oh, man, it's going to be... Okay, I'm gonna break it down. Man. Number 1 is some of the tourists that are there. So... kind of mentioned this before. You have a lot of Russians there. You have a lot of Ukrainians. Okay. And I know they're different people, but like a lot of Russian people, man, they have I find they have an energy about them. It's kind of like a negative, kind of like a morbid energy. Do you know what I mean, IP? It's just a different energy. It's not open. It's not friendly. It's not inviting. And I'm sure it goes back to like how they're raised and the political situation down there and everything else, everything they've gone to. So I would say that would be number 1. And sometimes the way that they treat the local people, I don't like. They're disrespectful to the local people. They do not have the same level of respect for the local people and the culture. They don't. A lot of them don't. There are so many of them down there fleeing because a lot of them don't want to fight in the Russian-Ukraine war, right? So a lot of them have escaped to Bali and set up their own communities. Okay? So when I was down there, I remember the place. The place that I was living was Ubud when I first came to Bali. I lived there for about 6 or 7 months. That is kind of like the whole... So whenever you look at pictures of like Bali, you see all of those rice fields and all that. That is Ubud. They have a huge, massive yoga type place down there, okay? So a lot of foreigners come there and to get spiritually awakened. Now, number 2, I would say things I don't like about it, and this is always going to come back to the Westerners, is that a lot of the Westerners come to Bali for so-called spirituality. So they come down to, to do yoga or to escape something that was happening back in Europe, something from their lifestyle that they didn't like. And they've come here to get like a spiritual cleansing. Most of this is complete BS, bollocks. All right? Because wherever you go in the world, you take yourself with you. Every time you look in the mirror, the reflection is yourself looking back at you. All right? So there's a lot of fake spirituality things. I wouldn't get into it, man. We're definitely gonna get into it. So there's a so-called, because like Bali, the original Bali was a very spiritual place. Okay, the actual local people, but it's become so perverted with Western tourism that has warped it. It would make more sense if you live there. So that I would say is number two. Number three is over tourism. So a lot of these places that they show you, like the gates of heaven, have you ever seen that? It's a very
Nope.
popular tour. Okay, it's like so a lot of the tourist places that they show on Instagram from these influencers, there are massive waiting lines to get to these places. And when you see them on Instagram, basically what happens is these people have been waiting there. You have to get there like at 5 o'clock in the morning, and there's sometimes like a 2 or 3 hour wait to get to some of these places. Okay, so there's over tourism of certain places, right? That would definitely be one of them. And number four, I would say, is there is a massive pollution problem in Bali. Massive plastic pollution. So in Asia, China is the number one polluter of plastics. Number two would be Indonesia. The streams are completely polluted, IP, with plastic and other trash. Okay? The ocean, 300,000 tons of debris wash up on the beaches every year in Bali. And they have to be removed by literal tractors. Okay? So there's a massive pollution problem in the oceans down there and in the streams. Okay? And what I've done is I put a link to the gates of heaven. It's a major, I put in the link there. So it's just a massive issue, man. People, the local Balinese don't have a concept of like how to keep the the place looking not neat. They don't believe in recycling. So they'll be on their motorcycle and they'll be drinking a bottle of Coke or a bottle of water, and they'll just throw out the plastic bottle on the street into a ditch. And that ends up going to the stream, and from that stream, it ends up going into the ocean. So a lot of the beaches there are so polluted with plastic and other rubbish that sometimes you can't surf. If you surf after it's rained, after rainfall in the first 1 to 2 days, it is very easy for you to get sick. And that's exactly what happened to me and another one of my acquaintances, a German man. We went out surfing a day or two after, and we got extremely sick. We got like we were exposed to E. coli, definitely. And I lost about 15 pounds. He lost a lot of weight, not as much as me. He's a bigger guy than me. But yeah, it's a massive issue, man. A massive, massive issue. So, it's definitely something to, let me just go plug this in, man. Give me a second, man. I gotta plug in my computer. Yeah, so the pollution problem is a massive issue. Oh, crap. All right, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, sorry, my computer just crashed out. Yes, the pollution is a massive issue. And number five would be the traffic. The traffic is so bad. So basically, during the pandemic, you can get from Ubud to Canggu in about 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. Okay? That was during the pandemic. When the pandemic kind of slowed, it now takes about 2 hours to get from Ubud down to Canggu. So
Wow.
and it's because there's 6 million tourists that go to Bali each year, my man. 6 million. Can you imagine that on that tiny island? So you can imagine it's gridlock traffic. Gridlock traffic. Because everyone wants to be in Bali. Everyone wants their Instagram moment. They all want to go on their spiritual retreat or whatever. And it's just you're spending if you travel anywhere and you need to have a scooter to get around there, man, because they don't really have sidewalks. All right. So there's massive issues down there, man. Massive issues. The infrastructure down there was not built for so many people.
Wow, thank you, bro.
Yeah,
So,
no
brother,
worries.
let me ask this, right? So now, in terms of like, what was I gonna say? Culture, brother, right?
Yeah.
What is Indonesian culture like? Is it a liberal culture? Is it a conservative culture, brother? Mixture of both?
I'm
Looking at
gonna
you, bro.
break it down. I'm gonna break it down. So the official religion of Bali is Hinduism. Hinduism.
Mm.
Very open, very liberal. The rest of Indonesia is Islamic. So there is the Muslim religion is they have the largest Islamic population in the world is Indonesia. Number 2 would be Malaysia. But on the island of Bali, it is Hindu. So because they are so open, and this ties into the tourism thing, right? Because in Hinduism, basically, I know a little bit about it, but they believe in thousands of different gods. So they have a god for everything, right? And the people are literally giving tithes to these gods on a weekly basis. So the Banjar is like the local mayor of these communities, right? So every community has a Banjar, which is a male. And basically, they are in charge of all of these ceremonies. And the local people have to give offerings of money and other things for these special ceremonies. And the Hindus have many different celebrations throughout the year. So the local people are having to come out of pocket to support their religion. Okay. And a lot of them don't have the financial resources to do that. They were because because the economy is 80 to 85% of it is based off tourism. During the pandemic, they were hit especially hard because there was really hardly any tourism down there, IP, right?
Hmm.
Yet they still had to do the offerings to the gods. Right. And wherever I go, I always respect people's religion. I'll never say anything bad about it. I'm not religious myself. I believe in a higher power, but I'm not religious. Don't belong to any denomination. And a lot of the people did confide in me that the regular ceremonies and things that they have to attend, it does put a dent in their wallet. But they have to do it because it's part of the religion. It's part of how they were brought up.
Okay, so brother, so you're saying, so is it more conservative than liberal in Indonesia, or is it 50-50?
It's too liberal, man. No, it's so liberal down there, man.
Despite, sorry, brother, despite it being an overall Muslim country, it's too liberal. What? What do you mean?
Bali's Hindu. The rest of Indonesia is Muslim.
Okay.
Right? So Bali, the island, is Hindu, but everywhere else is Muslim. So because Bali is like a microcosm, it's like think of it almost like a separate little island country within Indonesia. The people have a different attitude than they do on the mainland, on the other islands. So the foolishness that goes on in Bali does not happen. You see, think of it this way, IP. Why is Bali such a popular destination spot for Westerners? You see, the Westerners are not going to the other thousands of other different islands that are Muslim because they don't put up with that foolishness that goes on in Bali. They don't go put up with the alcohol. They don't put up with the drug use. They don't put up with, selling off, leasing out their land for 20, 30 years. You can't do that. You can't do that type of foolishness with the Islamic community. It's too strict. And I love it, man. I love these strict cultures where you can't show up half naked. You have Westerners going to some of these tourist traps there, right? Dressing half naked, interrupting ceremonies, traditional ceremonies, having no respect for the local Balinese people, and getting away with it. You have Westerners who don't know how to drive a scooter getting into being the cause of the accident with the local Balinese people, and then giving that local Balinese people attitude, yelling, shouting, and fighting at them. And because I'm going to bring it back, I'm going to explain it this way: because Bali is a Hindu island, and the people are very open and loving-hearted, right? And they believe in reincarnation and karma and stuff like that. The local people are not reactive. So the same BS that these Westerners do, drunken out of their minds, on drugs, exploiting the women, things like that, you cannot do that in other islands. And that is why you don't hear of other islands in the media or these Instagram influencers going to these other islands.
Mm.
Do you understand? So there is quality. At this point in my life, I'm about quality. So would I go back to live in Bali again? No. No, I would not. I would rather be among the local traditional people. So I'm heading back to Indonesia, but I'm going to be in Jakarta for like a month next time I go. And I'll be studying Indonesian while I'm there, going to class and things like that. But I want to be among local people. See, when you're in Bali, I'm gonna tell you this, IP, because this is another thing that people are just too afraid to really tell the authentic truth of what it is. It's a beautiful island, beautiful people. But I would say Bali is the whitest island in Asia. It is. And what happens is when you have the expats that are over there, they only socialize within their own group. So they're not associating, they're not really associating or branching out to the local people. Sure, like I've been to house parties at villas down there and things like that, which are like 98% all foreigners, and only 2%, the 2% locals that are there, are the ones that are serving us. They're the bartenders, they're the waitresses. Now I'm telling you the honest truth, man. Yeah.
Wow. Awesome,
Complete
bro.
segregation, man. It's like an economic apartheid down there, man.
So, brother, would you say like in the Islamic areas in Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
Chinese Indonesians, the foolery that they do isn't flying. It's only flying in Bali, or is it flying
In
everywhere?
Bali. In
Only in
Bali.
Bali.
In Bali primarily, because you still have a lot of the original Indonesians who are still in economic and political control in the rest of Indonesia. But yeah,
Okay.
in terms of like Jakarta and stuff like that. But yeah, you definitely do have the Chinese, the Chinese Indonesians that do very I met one of them. So this Chinese Indonesian woman, she opened up a winery in Bali. She has a winery down there, and I spoke to her, and had a good conversation with her and her daughter and things like that. And was supposed to have gone down. A really nice lady, really nice older woman, and all that. But as I said, man, we're kind of coming from a privileged position where we are Westerners, and we don't have to work for them. So our situation is going to be a little bit different. You understand what I'm saying, IP? We are coming from privilege. Yeah. Yeah.
So now, brother, great intel so far. I want to move on to dating, brother.
Sure.
Right, in Bali, Indonesia, and Indonesia in general, brother. Right.
Yes.
My first question to you, brother, is going to be, in my opinion, probably the most important question of all time, brother. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a question, brother, that is able to turn water into wine, brother, and vice versa. It's a
Okay.
question so powerful, brother, right? It can cause earthquakes, tsunamis, and seismic shocks all around the world, brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a question so powerful, brother. It can stop a meteorite from destroying planet Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a question so powerful, bro, that even aliens in outer space know of this question, bro. All right? The question is, Mr. Robert, are Indonesian women checking heavy for black men and passport bros of all races, of all colors, of all cultures? Are they checking for us, bro?
Let me put it this way. I'm gonna answer this extremely honestly.
Mm.
I would say when it comes to dating, I'm not gonna I'm gonna become we're not gonna be number one.
Damn.
We're not. We're not. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. We're not. The Westerner, the European Westerner would be number one. We would be yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, would be number two. And I'm gonna explain the reason for that. There is not a large community of Black people in Bali. Number one. Number two is just what you have to understand. It has been Caucasian Westerners that have been in Bali, predominantly going there for decades, since the early 80s or the mid 80s. So they're more used to seeing them than they are seeing us. Now there are more melanated brothers and sisters like us from Africa that are there, that are coming in. So they're getting more used to us. But I wouldn't say that we're number one. I would say that we're like because they just haven't they don't have that level of exposure yet. Does that make sense?
Mm.
But it's not.
Okay.
You still have good chances. Like, look, I did see. I'm going to send you a link right now of this gentleman that I do know, and he is married to a stunning Indonesian woman, and he has 2 daughters. Okay, I'll send that to you in the link or whatever. And I know him personally. His name is Robert Ian Bonnick. He is a melanated brother, like a dark-skinned melanated brother. He's from the UK as well. And he is a stunning upper-class woman from Jakarta, who is his wife, and they live in Bali. So you do have pockets of them, all right? But they are open to us, okay? Now, when I'm talking about the Balinese women, I'm talking the ones that predominantly work and live in the tourist trap areas, okay?
Mm.
I would say that would be like number 2, the number 2 pick. I'll be honest with you, man. I know it's not what you want to hear, but I gotta be 100 with you, man. I gotta be 100 with you. All right.
Mm.
So it's not that we can't. We can get. Look, we can attract and we get them. And I saw lots of Black guys with like beautiful Russian girls as their women, Indonesian girls and things like that. But yeah, they still need some more exposure to us, man. But they are very open-minded. They are very open-minded. It's just that they haven't been exposed to us enough.
Did you see Chinese Indonesians with Black men? Nope.
No, I don't think so, man. I can't. No, they were always. Yeah, they would. No.
What about with white men?
Some. I saw some. I did. I did see some, probably a little bit more than us. But the thing with the Chinese Indonesian is they mainly only date their own. That's the thing, IP. So it doesn't matter if you're Black or white. They usually will only date another Chinese or another Chinese Indonesian. That's the straight truth, man.
Okay.
Yeah. And for me personally, I prefer dark-skinned. If I'm going to go with an Asian woman, I prefer dark-skinned Asian woman. I don't like the white. I don't like it because if I wanted this, I would just go out with the Caucasian girl. I don't like it, man. It's not my preference. I have dated them before, Korean and Japanese girls, but I prefer the dark Asian woman. That is my preference.
So, brother, let me ask this right. So, tell me your dating experience in Bali, Indonesia. Were you successful there? Did you find it hard? Did you find it easy? Break it down for me, bro. I'm
gonna break it down, man. I'm gonna be 100% transparent. So I sent you some pictures that you already got, right?
Yes.
All right. I want to give some context and send some receipts as well. So for this first, okay. So before I went down to Bali, I was kind of dealing with 3 women. As I said, probably wouldn't do that again. I'm really kind of getting over these casual type of relationships, but that's another story. So when I first came to Indonesia, I was not dating. I was celibate for the first 6 months, my man. 6 months. I had nothing. Okay. Now I wasn't on the dating apps and things like that. I don't really, I was on the dating apps briefly for like 1 or 2 weeks, and then I just deleted it from my phone. First 6 months, I didn't do anything. I was just getting used to the environment, kind of seeing if I was compatible with anyone. After that 6 months period, I was in Canggu, which is so I wasn't in Ubud. I was still living in Ubud, but I was in Canggu, and I was at this restaurant working on my notebook, doing some work, and there was a beautiful dark-skinned girl who I thought was originally Indonesian, but she was actually a Filipina who had been raised in Belgium. Okay, so she was sitting next to me, and I'm not usually the type to really usually go up and approach women or whatever. I'm like, if the woman is interested in me, she'll show me some signs. She'll come up to me because I'm done playing the games. I'm done playing the games with these women. A lot of women, they just want the validation that a guy likes them, and then as soon as that guy shows interest, she's like, oh, I have a boyfriend or some other. I've seen that happen to so many men. So anyway, we ended up hitting it off. She was visiting from Belgium, and she was there stuck in Bali, during the pandemic. And we ended up talking for a bit, and then later on we went out to a restaurant, and then I escorted her back home. We had our scooters, we drove back home, back up to Ubud, and then we exchanged information, and then we ended up meeting again. Now this is my perfect, if I could make a dream woman, IP. I don't ever picture us. I would have sent that to you too. If I could make my dream woman from clay and water, that is what she would be. So I got my dream. Yeah, no, I'll say I got my dream. I'm like, she's perfect in every way. Let me. I'm gonna tell you what happened, man. I'm gonna tell you what happened. To make a long story short, she was in an open relationship. Okay, we ended up hooking up more than one time. Okay, I'm just gonna put this out there, IP. Okay, but what I discovered is that she was in an open relationship and she had a German boyfriend. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be straight. And this is the thing with me, man. I'm like, I can never be in a relationship with a woman that believes in open relationships. And I could never marry her and never could have her be the child of the mother of my children. I can't do it. So even physically, she encompassed everything. Personality wise, character wise, we're on complete opposites. I can't compromise. So I still have her contact details to this day, man. But yeah, we kind of stayed in contact a little bit after that. But then, I didn't pursue it, obviously, right? But she, amazing, like just. Man, like I remember, like she came back to my bungalow in Ubud, and after our night together, whatever, keeping it PG, I remember woke up early in the morning. I was doing some work on the computer, and then she was just behind me. She was doing yoga, right? IP
Yep.
nude, completely nude, and beautiful dark bronze skins, long hair, completely feminine. I'm just like, my good man, this is a life, man. This is like can't get any better than this, man.
So
Yeah.
So what kind of wife? So what kind of woman can you find? Do you normally find in Bali? But keep it real, with me, right? And
I'm gonna keep it real.
This goes across Indonesian chicks and foreign chicks, right? Are these women for the night? Are these 3 or 4? Are these fun women? Basically, you can't find wifey in Bali, Indonesia, whether she's Indonesian or Russian or Dutch. These are just fun women. But keep it real with me, brother.
I'm gonna keep it so real with you. Your ears are gonna be bleeding, IP. 95% of them are 304s.
Damn.
Yep. The foreign woman, yeah.
Brother, sorry, bro. Should we go on to Rumble to speak about the
Yeah.
Is it worth doing that?
Yeah. Let's go.
All right, brothers. All right, everyone on Rumble, because like we want to talk about on Rumble because it's more free speech there. So I want everyone on Rumble right now. Okay, we're gonna go into Rumble for the last half an hour and speak about the freaky culture in Indonesia. So we can't go too deep onto YouTube. So everyone on Rumble right now, okay? Post a link in the chat right now. We are all going on to Rumble. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes. Go on to Rumble. Robert, get some water or some food, brother.
Sure,
We've got
man.
another half an hour, 25 minutes. Then we'll go on to Rumble.
Put the link in, bro.
And then
you
we're
put the link
about
in?
that. Yeah, I put the link in the chat, bro. I put it in the private chat as well. So, Baba, you're fine, brother. You stay here because you're good. You're on stream mode already.
Sure. Okay.
Brothers,
Okay. I'll be back in
YouTube.
I'll be back in
Go on,
5,
bro.
right? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, bro. All right, brothers. Everyone on Rumble, okay? Everyone move on Rumble, move, okay? We're going to Rumble for the last 25 minutes, okay? We're going to speak about some crazy things, okay? Everyone on Rumble, create your account on there. Follow me on Rumble, all right? Please. Everyone on Rumble, all right? Everyone go into Rumble. I put the link in the chat over here. We're moving on to Rumble because we're going to speak about the woman there, and you can't find wifey there. Why is that? And some freaky talk only on Rumble. Everyone move on to Rumble right now. When Robert's back, I'm going to end the live stream on YouTube. We're all going to go on to Rumble. So get your account on there, create your account, follow me on Rumble. All right. We are all going to stream on Rumble in a minute. Okay. Everyone move on to Rumble. Okay. Move. I'm going to give you, so when Robert's back, I'm going to end the live stream. Okay. So IP crash out, and woman talk up next on Rumble. Okay. Move on to Rumble, bro. So when Robert's back, we're going to end the YouTube stream. We're going to go into Rumble. If you miss out, that's on you, bro. Okay. Again, the Rumble link is in the chat over here. All right. I put in the live stream chat. Rumble. You should be following me on Rumble already. Right. Here's the link on Rumble. And here's a link here on Rumble as well. Okay. We're about to go crazy on Rumble. I talk about the freaky stuff, bro, for the last half an hour. Okay. I want everyone to move on to Rumble. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Kick, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitch right now, we're moving over to Rumble. When Robert's back, I'm going to end the stream on YouTube. Okay. And if you miss out, that's on you, bro. Everyone hop onto Rumble right now. When Robert's back, we're going to end it. IP crash out and freaky woman talk up next on Rumble. It's showtime. Get ready to Rumble. All right. And make sure you follow me on Rumble. Make sure you follow me on Rumble because Rumble, a lot more free speech on there. We can talk more freely about women, about the culture, and crash out on there as well. So follow me on Rumble, follow me on Kick, follow me on Twitch because these are more freer speech platforms. Okay. All right. And you should be, and there'll be times where I'm probably going to only do streams on Rumble and on Kick mostly, not on YouTube. All right. So I want everyone on YouTube to now move over to Rumble. Okay. Last half an hour, we're going to crash out. We're going to speak about that real talk, woman talk on Rumble. Okay. When Robert's back, be good. Let me get some more to myself. Rumble. She want to hop in a Rari. She want to hop in a Rari. She want to hop in a Rari. So are you ready to die? She want to hop in a Rari. So who she fuck with, she said that, look. Move. Rumble gang up next. Rumble. Move over to Rumble. I'm gonna give y'all a couple minutes, bro. Move. So you ain't gonna find wifey in Indonesia there for the night? Okay, that's cool. Okay, how freaky are they? And Robert, he's gonna break it down for us on Rumble. Everyone, move on Rumble right now. Move on Rumble. All right. When Robert's back, we're gonna speak about that freaky stuff, bro. I know you want to hear that right now, man. Let's get cracking, man. IP, don't crash out yet, bro. IP, don't crash out yet, bro. IP, don't flipping crash out, bro. Relax, bro. Okay, we still on YouTube, IP. Don't crash out, bro. Don't crash out, bro. Don't crash out, bro. Don't crash out, bro. IP, don't crash out, man. IP, don't crash out, man. IP, don't crash out, bro. Don't crash out, bro. IP, man, don't crash out, bro. Don't crash out, IP, man. Bro, what's going on, bro? Don't crash out, bro. Yo, IP, man. Shit, man. Fuck. IP, don't crash out right now, man. IP, don't crash out, 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 man. Don't crash out. We're still on YouTube, bro. We're still on YouTube, bro. Don't crash out, IP. Don't crash out, IP, man. Don't crash out, man. Don't crash out, man. IP, man. We're still on YouTube, bro. Don't crash out, man. Don't crash out, IP, man. Not yet, bro. Not yet, man. Not yet, man. I want to crash out so bad, but we're on YouTube right now, okay? So, Robert, when you back, Robert, man, we're gonna crash out a bit, man. I want to crash out, man. I want to crash out. Oh, no, I want to crash out right now, man. I want to crash out right now. She want to hop in the Rari. It feels so good to speak free, man. It feels so good to speak free, man. Rumble, next 5 minutes, we're going to crash out, woman talk, Indonesia talk. We're going to get it, man. Come on, man. God damn. Don't crash out, IP, man. Don't crash out, bro. Don't crash out yet, man. Don't crash out yet, bro. All right, we're still on YouTube, IP. We're still on YouTube, man. Don't crash out, man. Don't crash out, bro. Take it easy, IP, man. IP, take it easy, bro. Don't take it easy, man. Don't crash out, bro. Don't crash out yet. Oh, man. God. She wanna hop in a Rari. God. I wanna crash out, man. Lord, I wanna crash out right now, man. I wanna crash out for a bit. I wanna crash out, man. Say F the world, man. Say F these bitches, man. But no, we on YouTube right now, IP. We on YouTube. Okay, he back. Let's go. All right, bro. We're gonna end the stream on YouTube right now. All right, everyone on Rumble. We're gonna talk about women and the whole 9 yards. So everyone go on to Rumble right now, okay? I'm gonna end the YouTube stream right now. Okay, I'm gonna end on Kick. We are now on Rumble. Okay, so hold on, Robert, right? So let me end the YouTube stream. Okay, hold on, bro.
All right.
So I'm gonna end the YouTube stream over here. Edit. Let's see. Okay, we're now on. When Facebook is ended, Twitch is going now. So we're not on Twitch anymore. Remove on Twitch. Cool. Okay. Now we're gonna end it on Kick as well. Okay. So Kick is going. Let's go over here. Edit. Kick. Okay. And we're gonna end it on YouTube. Okay. So we're now moving on to Rumble now. So no more YouTube. We are now officially